One just popped up as you were talking. I told you that we needed to watch this storm because it still looked pretty odd to me. So here we go again, a new tornado warning. This one is issued for Butler and Venango counties until 6:03. So this new tornado warning is this one here. Remember I told you we needed to pay attention to slippery rock as well? That's this one here. That's where we're seeing enough rotation. There's actually a hook on this one, and this hook is pretty pronounced where we have this warning. So we're going to get in on this particular storm. There it is. There's the hook, sort of where all this storm bends, you get that rotation here. And this is near Barkeyville and moving towards I-80. So if you know anyone traveling I-80 in southern Venango County, they need to pay attention to this. This is a storm that could certainly produce some very strong rotating winds. It could lead to some damage up that way. Of course, you never want to see these moving over a major interstate like I-80 where a lot of people are passing by, especially this time of night where it could be pretty busy. So this is a spot that needs to be paid attention to very carefully because we have this rotation here, and you can see we have sort of a couplet showing up here, but we're going to take the storm's motion into account with this, and there you go. You get that better chance. So this one is also moving at about 30 miles per hour. This particular storm, though, is moving due north. So this one's going to be lifting right up towards Barkeyville, right over I-80, out of the northernmost reaches of Butler County here. So this one's moving north at 30 miles per hour and is going to be crossing over I-80 in very short order. So you're not going to want to drive this one or drive through this. You're going to want to take a little bit of a break if you know anyone traveling up this way. Of course, outside of the I-80 corridor, it's a little more rural up this way, which is sort of a saving grace with this storm. But of course, it's traveling right over I-80 at about 30 miles per hour, and on a clip like that, this is going to be moving towards Victory by 6:25, Sandy Creek by 6:33. This particular warning goes until 6:30 for this part of the storm here. Now, we're going to zoom out a little bit because this is our second tornado warning that we've had. We're going to switch back to just regular radar mode, and we're going to zoom out a little bit. And the other one we've been watching has been moving out of the Butler area here. So this is the other spot that we've been watching. Looks like the notches associated with that have calmed down significantly. However, we still have the hook associated with that storm up there. So we look for rotation in a couple different ways when we look at the radar. One, we look for a hook. You may have heard it referred to as a hook echo. And what that is where you get a hook. It shows up like a hook on a radar. And that's what we're seeing here. And this is moving over I-80 right now. And what these are is you have a weak echo region, which shows us where the winds are wrapping around something. So when the radar's looking for something in a storm, it finds an empty spot. And that tells us that winds are wrapping around that. So we have this weak echo region here, which is one indication that there is some rotation happening within this storm. The other thing we look for is velocity, which is actually the radar's way of looking for motion within the storm. And here's the latest radar scan. And a good sign is that this stretched out a little bit, which is a sign of rotation. And overall, this one's crossing over I-80 right now. And Kristen Emery's been with me here this evening. And Kristen, what are you seeing?
Yeah, it's interesting that we had so many counties down to the south and west canceled from the tornado watch. And it looked like things were starting to weaken, but that doesn't mean that we still can't get these storms that are capable of spinning up a quick tornado, as we've seen now over the past half an hour or so. So take a look right now at the activity that, if you can take a look at Ray's computer there as I get my graphics ready here. He's taking a look at the rotation there. And we sometimes look at rotation, sometimes we look at shear, and we're talking about the velocities and the greens and the reds you see here, the winds going to and from the radar. And that's what the Doppler effect is. Doppler radar can measure winds going to or from the radar site. And that's how they measure, that's how they determine when we say a radar indicated tornado or a storm possible of dropping a tornado, it means that the winds are very, very close in proximity, going one way, close toward radar and the other way, against it. They call it gate-to-gate shear, and that's when we often see these tornado warnings issued. So there you see what we're looking at as far as the rotation path or possible rotation, and that's kind of the path of that cell that's been moving from southwest to northeast, just in the very, very southwestern corner of the county there, and then just the very northwestern corner of Butler County. So it's going to keep going to the north and east, and you can see pretty quick moving storms. We've seen these storms with winds up to 50 miles per hour when we talk about straight line damaging winds, but also the progress of this system. These cells are not sitting in one place very long at all. They are moving at about 40, 45 miles per hour. So they're hauling through different areas and dropping some destructive winds, one or two possible quick tornadoes that we've seen over the past half an hour or so, and then really just sort of weakening and moving on out to the northeast. So here you see some of the storm path there. You can see over the next 10 to 15 minutes, these storms making their way very quickly through the area. So again, if you're just joining us, the warning now we have, this tornado warning, is for Butler County and Venango County, and we can switch over to Max 2 if you want for the computer graphics. Really, you see the outline of this polygon here, and it's just in the very, very northeastern corner, or northwestern corner rather, of Butler County, and then moving down into the southeastern corner of as we head toward the Clintonville area, and you can see that little bit of a curve there. So Barkeyville headed up toward Victory in about the next 10-15 minutes. This cell will continue to push up to the north and east. So not only do we want you in some of these areas, if you're along I-80 there, the Clintonville area, Barkeyville again, if you're just to the north there, I-80 and Route 8, that's where we're concerned about where you might want to take cover now. This system is moving pretty quickly, again, about 40, 45 miles per hour off to the east-northeast, but these could spawn a quick rotation or a quick tornado, and right now Doppler radar indicated for a warning that goes until about 6:30, Ray?
Yeah, and we're looking close up at this, but if we switch over to Max 1 here, you could see that this is a big line of storms. And I know in Pittsburgh, this isn't a concern for you in town. The tornado warning isn't for Pittsburgh or Allegheny County. This is extremely northern Butler County and Venango County, so well north of Pittsburgh. Actually, much of Butler County has seen this line already move through, and it's this top edge here where you see the line sort of zigzag. This is where we have the ingredients for shear, because as this cold front's pushing through, these winds are pretty much blowing in opposing directions as you go up higher and higher into the sky. And with that the case, you get that setup for some rotation to occur, and the radar has picked up on it there. Now, this is where the rotation is, but you can see this is quite a line of storms here, a little further to the north with a whole lot of lightning, very heavy rainfall. It's heavy rain all the way down to the south, but the storm that is actually producing the tornado potential is up along I-80 right now. So I just wanted to back out of there for a moment to show you that this isn't a concern for Butler or for Allegheny County. This is a concern for now just Venango County, as this has shifted up. We had a little update come in from this one. So Butler County was allowed to drop out of this warning, and now this is a Venango County storm. So this is moving over I-80 right now near Barkeyville, and is going to continue up towards 322 if you're familiar with Venango County there. So it's going to go from the major roadway to a secondary roadway on 322 up that way. So certainly a storm to pay attention to. If you're in Barkeyville, you should be in the lowest level of your home, of course. If you have the basement, that's the preferred place to be. And we still have our weak echo region here, which is a sign that this is trying to wrap in here. Some very heavy rainfall associated with this. One thing we haven't been getting a lot of is hail reports today, and that was always the plan. We weren't expecting much in the way of hail to show up, but we still have the rotation getting picked up by our radar products that's right now starting to touch up on I-80 in southern Venango County, just west of Clintonville, as this storm continues to move to the northeast at 30 miles per hour. So Victory, you're next in line for this one. This storm is going to work right up Route 8. So Barkeyville, along Route 8 up towards Victory is how we plan on this to go. So right now it's at 208 moving towards I-80. Then it's going to take that pretty much Route 8 path up towards Victory. And even more rotation showing up in the last scan here, right on I-80. And we're going to get in on that with the velocity to see what we're dealing with here. And certainly that rotation is showing up, but it looks a little more broad than it was earlier. However, this part of it right here, showing the bright reflectivities, that would be an indication of some of the stronger winds in there. But typically you'd want to see a yellow or an orange and a blue next to each other for indication. So it looks like this one's trying to weaken a little bit, which is a good sign. However, that warning is still in effect up until 6:30 as this is moving up towards Victory, Kristen.
Yeah, we're taking a look at, when we talk about the velocities, all we're talking about is that's the speed of the winds, whether they're coming toward the radar or away, so you can measure whether there's any rotation there or any spin. So if we want to take a look at that on Max 5, you can see some of the numbers, and where Ray was showing some of the higher areas of velocity there, even just north of I-80, the latest scan, we have winds going in one direction measured by the radar at about 34 miles per hour, and in the other direction, anywhere between 6 to 10 miles per hour. So it's not extraordinarily strong rotation, as Ray said, but we're looking at this possibly weakening a little bit. It still could be possible of capable of producing a tornado there, and that's why we still have this warning in effect as we head into about the next 12 to 14 minutes. And you can see areas just to the north. There you see that region there, just to the north of Barkeyville, and the areas, it's a mainly rural area of Venango County, but we're looking at the Barkeyville area and also looking at mainly they're looking at just to the north of there and then headed to the north and east. It's moving at about 30 miles per hour. And, even if there's not any spin that's near you, this is definitely producing some strong straight line winds too, where we're looking at winds that are possible of about 40 to 50 miles per hour. So that can definitely knock some tree limbs down, blow some garbage cans around, and you don't want to be near any windows there. So as we take a look at a little bit of the reflectivity here, you can see very, very intense rain and definitely the rotation we're worried about. So from Barkeyville area is clear, Clintonville, and then on up to Victory. I'd say Victory area and Mineral are the two areas that are of concern right now. And really for about the next 10 to 15 minutes, those of you along Route 8 and 965 there, you want to be away from the windows and be in a safe place and take some cover now, Ray?
Yeah, and I know we've been paying attention to the tornado warning up that way. Elsewhere, we've had this tornado watch that's been in effect. And Pittsburgh, Allegheny County, Beaver County, Lawrence County, Fayette County have all been allowed to be dropped from this. So Westmoreland County, Indiana County, Armstrong, Clarion, Jefferson, Forest, Venango, as you get into Mercer County, still all within this tornado watch, which means conditions are right for strong to severe thunderstorms to lead to rotation. So all this has shifted up to the north. And this is where we've been seeing our two tornado warnings so far that we've had so far this evening occur. Now getting into that velocity that we've been watching up to the north, that is weakened some, which is always a good sign. It's not as tight of a couplet that we've seen here, but it's still showing up. And this is moving right towards Victory as we've been planning it to. And that's going to continue that northeasterly movement at about 30 miles per hour. So there is still a rotation occurring here, as shown by the radar. However, and I think it was just canceled. So it just did get allowed to be dropped, as we've been telling you that this has been weakening. We've dropped some communities out of the tornado watch so far, but still Victory. I want you to pay attention to this one. We've been watching, and some of these storms have just spun up, and it happens rather quickly when they do, but we're here on KDKA News, and if they do spin up again, we will let you know about it. We'll hop right on, but in the meantime, since that tornado warning has been allowed to wrap up, we're going to take a wider view of all the rain and thunderstorms that we have, and you can see they shifted out of the Pittsburgh area. Still, the cluster of storms is northeastern parts of Butler County, up into Venango County, back into Mercer County, where we're seeing pretty much the most intense storm activity right now, and where there is still that potential of rotation. And as it stands, Allegheny County, Fayette County, Beaver County, Lawrence County, Washington, Greene counties, all allowed to be dropped from the tornado watch. We're still watching for that potential of rotation up into the northeast parts of our viewing area, and we're going to continue to do that as we continue through the evening. But as it stands right now, this watch, meaning there are still ingredients in the air, even though all our warnings have expired, there are still ingredients until 10 p.m.